Hi, Assalamualaikum. Today I'm here as the presenter for our AGR 499 subject, which focus on crop science. I will be presenting a topic that I have been chosen, which is 1.4 fruit and seed development. Before I delve into the details of the topic, let me briefly introduce myself first. My name is Siti Amira Aisyah binti Padil. Student ID is 2025117457 from class M3802402E, and my lecturer name is Madam Siti Nurul Atikah binti Abu Samah. Next, we move to our topic is fruit. What is fruit? A fruit originates from a mature fertilized ovary of a flower. For seeded fruit, the seeds are protected from harm and assisted in spreading by the fruits and casing. For example, whether by wind, water, or animal that eat and carry them elsewhere. And for seedless fruit, parthenocarpy is the process by which fruits form without fertilization and do not produce seed. For example, include seedless bananas and some citrus varieties. Next is fruit types. First is simple fruit, one fruit that develops from the ovary of a single flower. For example, fleshy fruit is plums and peach. And for example, dry fruit is walnut and hazelnut. Second is aggregate fruit. Fruit is formed from numerous carpels of one individual flower. These fruits are made up of many simple fruit attached to a fleshy receptacle. For example, a raspberry. Every little bubble on a raspberry is one of those mini fruits, and the whole cluster you pick is the group of them joined together. Third is multiply fruit, a fruit formed from the fusion of the subcarpels of many different flowers which develop closely together to form one bigger fruit. For example, is pineapple. Every eye on the pineapple surface started as a separate flower, but they all fuse to create the single fruit we eat. And lastly is accessory fruit, fruit that is not formed from the ovary, but from a different part of the flower. They can still fall into of the main fruit group. For example, simple fruit, aggregate fruit, or multiply fruit. Next is image for fruit type. First is simple fruit. P come from one flower with one ovary. The pea flower has part like the ovary and ovule, which develop into a pea pod with seed inside. For example, others fruit is peas, mango, tomato. For easy to understand is one flower become one fruit. Second is aggregate fruit. Raspberry. From the many ovaries called sarpel in one flower, each little bulb fruitlet in a raspberry become from a different sarpel. All fruitlets stick together to make one raspberry. Third is multiply fruit. Pineapple developed from a multiply flower that are tightly packed together. Each segment of the pineapple is from a different flower, but they fuse into one big fruit. And lastly is accessory fruit. Apple. In this case, the fruit is not only made from the ovary, it also includes other parts of the flower like the receptacle. the base of the flower. So the fleshy part of an apple is actually from the receptacle, not just the ovary. Next, we move to the seed. A seed contains all of the genetic information needed to develop into an entire plant. A seed is a mature ovule containing an embryo storage, reserve tissue, and a protective outer covering. Seed and are the sexual reproductive unit in a plant. This seed has two cotyledons, seed leaf. Inside the seed, we will find embryo with tiny part that will grow into roots and shoot. Epicotyl will grow into the stem and leaf. Hypocotyl, the part just below the leaf. Radicle become the roots. Cotyledons store food for the embryo. And lastly, seed coat protect the seed. Next is corn seed monocot. The seed has only one cotyledon. It also has endosperm, a large area that stores food. Embryo with the same parts as the bean seed, epicotyl, hypocotyl, radicle. Seed coat protection. Next is seed components. Main part of a seed, there are three main parts every seed. First is embryo. This is the baby plant inside the seed. It will start growing when the condition water, warmth, air are right. Second is endosperm. This is the food supply stored in the seed. It gives the embryo energy to grow before it can make its own food. Third is seed coat, the hard outer shell of the seed. It protects the seed from damage, insect and disease. It also keeps water out until the seed is ready to spread out its germinate. Next is other important seed part is cotyledons, also called seed leaf. They store food and sometimes help with photosynthesis in early growth. Epicotyl, the part of the embryo that become the shoot, the stem and leaf. Hypocotyl, the stem-like part that sits below the cotyledons and above the roots. Radicle, the part that grow into the root of the plant. Plumule, the part that form the first true leaf and the shoot system of the plant. Next, this is image compare two types of seed germination, apogee and hypogee germination. Apogee germination, left side. The cotyledon seed leaf come above the soil. The hypocotyl lower stem grow and pushes the cotyledons upwards. For example, bean plants. Cotyledons are visible above a ground. They sometimes become green and help in photosynthesis. Hypocotyl is actively growing. Next is hypogee germination, right side. The cotyledons stay underground. Only the epicotyl up part of the shoot grow above the soil. For example, pea plants and maize. Cotyledons remain below the soil and do not become photosynthesis. Epicotyl grow to bring the leaf above ground, and hypocotyl doesn't elongate much. And that's all from my presentation, and thank you.